Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank the people who come forward with the testimony. I appreciate the depth of passion that was represented here and the concern that everyone expressed for children and keeping our focus on children. I made a mistake. I want to apologize to the citizens of Gloucester for the mistake that my email represents. I want to apologize to the members of the board for that. That said, since my integrity is called into question in part in this process, I want to at the same time be mindful of the governor's admonition not to spend a lot of time defending the process, but I must, at a minimum, since the mistake of the email was taking one piece of a conversation and putting it in public view, put for you the rest of the situation, the rest of that conversation in context. So I'm going to take a few minutes to do that so that we can avoid future misunderstandings or distortions of what has happened. The snippet of a conversation that appears in the email was part of an ongoing conversation that I had with the commissioner on this matter, just as I have conversations with the commissioner on virtually any matter. That's part of my role as Secretary of Education. It's part of my role as a member of the board. There were prior conversations about this subject. There were subsequent conversations about this. Judging the nature or impact of that interaction on the basis of one email is problematic. It leaves out, for example, I'll give you one piece of a prior conversation. It leaves out the fact that shortly before the email that you have seen, the commissioner said to me that he had received the recommendation from the charter school office, that there were 3 negatives there, that 2 he viewed as non-starters, as out of bounds, as not quality applications, but 1 he viewed as worthy of further consideration. He thought that it might conceivably have the potential to be a viable charter school, and he was going to look at it more closely. A second aspect of a conversation that was prior to this time was, and I think illustrative of the commissioner's fierce independence on a number of matters with respect to his relationship with the administration, was to say the commissioner proposed, if you remember, it was part of the motion that day, a foundation budget threshold that had to be met before a charter could be considered. I and members of the administration, for that matter, opposed this idea. I didn't think, for a variety of reasons, that it was worth that this was an appropriate measure to attach to a particular charter school situation. Commissioner felt otherwise and persisted in that recommendation and exercising his freedom and independence to do so, and carried that forward, and in due course persuaded me and other members of this board that that was an appropriate thing to vote for. My communication with the commissioner was the communication of one board member, of the Secretary of Education, to the commissioner. It was not in the nature of an order. It is not my authority, my province, or my habit to order the commissioner to do anything as he works for the board. He does not work for the administration. My communication with the commissioner was exclusive to the commissioner. If any member of this board received communication from me that in any way tried to influence your vote on this matter, or from the governor or from any other member of the administration, I'd appreciate it if you just raise your hand. This was not a matter, frankly, that I spent much time on, in the sense of out of the ordinary course of events. I did not see it as a matter that I would communicate with other board members about. I made my opinion known to the commissioner. I thought it was a viable charter school, and I thought that from a political standpoint, it would be a good thing for us to support at least one charter school coming forward. The accusation of politics is a sort of incriminating or dirty word in this process has come forward. I see politics as the clash of interests, as the clash of different ideas about what it's important to do. In the field of education, we all agree, I think, at some top level about what we want to accomplish for children. We have vigorous, sometimes violent disagreements about how to accomplish those things. And our political system, our governmental system, is designed to reconcile those and produce a decision so that we can move forward. So as a political appointee, I am appointed by an elected official. It's my obligation, first and foremost, and I take this very seriously, to weigh every decision I make with respect to its impact on the children who are directly involved. And once I'm satisfied that the children directly involved will be well served by something, I then look at the impact with respect to the political implications of this, as is generally the case in this kind of a position. And the political implication in particular that I was worried about with this is the implication on the rest of the education reform agenda, as it states explicitly in the email, because our responsibility is to the children of the Commonwealth more broadly. If we can be assured that children in Gloucester will be well served by a particular charter school, which I was, then we look to the larger children's agenda, the larger education reform agenda, and see what the implications of that for that might be. And it's my responsibility to express those. I don't want to belabor this. The chair will talk later about how we'll respond. The governor has asked the board again to provide an opportunity to rethink this decision. I continue to see the charter school in Gloucester as having merit. I have been up in Gloucester a number of occasions since our last board meeting. I continue to be impressed with the Gloucester Public Schools, with the leadership of that system, and more importantly, with a commitment in the community to mount a high-quality public school system for all its children. In my view, our job as a board is to assure, with the limited resources at our disposal, the greatest good for the greatest number of children. Those are sometimes agonizing decisions to make. I spent a fair amount of time in Gloucester in recent weeks trying to see if there were another way to address this challenge, a third way, so it's not this eternal battle that we have, which is a political battle, which is the battle that I was referring to in my email as a no-win situation, because we're at war within our sector over charter schools. And it becomes an enormous distraction for us relative to all the other work that we have to do to improve the quality of education for the 97.4% of children in this Commonwealth who don't attend charter schools. But at any rate, I spent a fair amount of time in Gloucester thinking about a third way, perhaps a readiness school, perhaps another kind of option that could be cobbled together even at this late moment, that would make the question of resources staying in the system or flowing outside the system a moot point, and enable the charter school proposers to exercise and implement the principles they had in mind, and at the same time worked with the school system to make it broader and to offer more choices there. I thought they were encouraging discussions on both sides, and I still think they have promise as a constructive solution moving forward. But in the end, we have an obligation to proceed with the work. We will take seriously the things that we've heard today. We will reconsider our own actions, each of us, I'm sure, in this light, and collectively think about this in a process that has integrity. But in the end, it's all about collectively using our wisdom and judgment to do the utmost that we can to educate our children to the highest possible level. I remain committed to that task and to working with you, Madam Chair, on that.
Thank you, Secretary Revel.